Hey everybody, I'm Tommy and I'm a little bit late, but you are on the lifeboat. We had a bit of a power issue in Ecuador tonight, and it's becoming painfully obvious that I'm going to need to get myself a generator. Hi, a lifeboat. Tommy and Johnny, hope the whole family is doing great. I'm going to ski Switzerland for 2 weeks. Any good recommendations? Well, I'll just have you know that we're no longer friends. I'm a little salty that you're going to go skiing in Switzerland. Zermatt. The mountain that you want to go and ski in Switzerland would be Zermatt. It is the sister mountain of Snowbird Mountain Resort. Dick Bass had a big share in it. It's incredible terrain. They've got a really great their lift system is fantastic. It's not antiquated. They have a tram that will rival anywhere. That would definitely be the one to go. And thank you so much for the super chat. What a way to start the show. I really appreciate it. Mrs. D, glad that you're here. Cindy G, what's happening? Hello, Lynn. How are you? Carol, I'm glad that you're here. People, I was going to be doing a show with my beautiful wife, Reese. Unfortunately, we had to put that off. We will be doing it. I was more excited to do that than just about anything else. So going to be looking forward to doing that again. Oh yeah, Zermatt, great view of the Matterhorn. That's correct. In fact, the very top of the Matterhorn, the toppest most section of the Matterhorn, that rock was lopped off. It's only about 2.5 feet tall, something like that. It was cut off and delivered to Snowbird Mountain Resort in Utah, and they actually have it outside. It's the tip of the Matterhorn. And we would get a good buzz on and try to climb on the top of it and hold on so that you could take a picture and say, I have climbed the very top of the Matterhorn. Fisher Blue, good to have you here. Loretta Hauser from Arizona. See, she gets it. And I love that. Deanna, glad that you are here. Hey, Tommy, Rob from Louisville in the house. Glad that you are here. Hey, Paula, glad that you are here. Sue Nelson, yeah, I am. I'm going to forgive you. Jeff, what's happening? So you probably have seen the images. You probably saw it on the thumbnail. Today, Savannah Guthrie went out to the front of the house where there is sort of a makeshift memorial. If you remember, originally there was a sign that was put up by neighbors that said, "Your neighbors love you, Nancy, and we're praying for you to come home." A lot of people have stopped and dropped off, flowers, and there's some stuffed animals. There's all kinds of things. It has become, truthfully, like a makeshift sort of a thing, where there's a lot of people that are stopping by, and they went out there as three of them. So it was Savannah Guthrie with her sister Annie and her husband Tommaso, who I have affectionately nicknamed Neckbeard. Johnny Scoville said, "Classy." I noticed you didn't put Neckbeard in the thumbnail. I wish that he had done this in the very beginning. I really do. I would imagine that somebody has probably recommended this because there are just so many people that still believe that he is the number one suspect. At the end of my last show, I said, they still haven't returned the car, and someone said, "No, the car is back." The car is not back. I'm sorry, but it is not. Something still doesn't look right about Tommaso. Well, until it is proven otherwise, I'm just playing the numbers. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. The support keeps this going, and it allows me to talk the way I want to talk, which is a beautiful thing. I still think it's Neckbeard. He looks even more like the perp. Yeah, a lot of people have said he didn't look particularly normal out there. By way of full disclosure, and if we're being even-handed, it's hard to know what normal is. So in this situation, I would imagine it's got to be very difficult to figure out what normal is. Now, before you think I've gone soft, I will happily say that this right here, to me, doesn't look like normal, right? That still doesn't look like normal to me. And maybe people have said, "Hey, have you checked out Tommy Scoville on the Lifeboat?" And maybe they came over and saw one of my shows. Or maybe they just realized that this isn't a good look. And what they did today Savannah Guthrie was holding on to him like you would hold on to a dad, like you would hold on to someone that you was really needing for emotional support. It was heart-wrenching, to be honest with you. However, I'm still playing the numbers, and it's not a personal thing. It really isn't. It is a numbers game, and he is the last person to see her before she disappears. So that to me is a big thing. Also, they're the ones that called 911. They were the first people to show up on the scene to find her gone. Yeah, it's not normal, Lynn. I agree with you. Hello, Tommy. I was surprised that Savannah, Annie, and Tommaso went to see the flowers with flowers from Mother. So many complaints against Tommaso. Sure, they tried to show solidarity. Still feels like he's involved. And it still looked to a lot of people like maybe it was awkward. Oh, all right, Sierra Terry. I love it. Tommy, I'm glad that you were watching with us from Auburn, California. We're very fond of your wife. She is a national treasure, in my opinion. And my wife is very fond of her, too, and that's usually a good sign. Savannah seemed to be keeping the family together today. Is she hiding something? I don't know. I would imagine this has got to be very difficult either way, right? If Tommaso and Annie are in on this, this has got to be hell on Savannah Guthrie. If they're not in on this, it has to be a completely different kind of hell. If in fact they are completely innocent, all of the people that are dragging him through the mud, and I'm not talking about me. All right, it's too hot in here for that. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the channels that are literally saying things like he has already been convicted. If the balaclava doesn't fit, you must acquit. Well played. And you see the neighbors, Jeff, who has now been on Surviving the Survivor and with Brian Enton. No, I have not. I will go over and check that out. I'm a big fan of both of those content creators, so I will go and check that out. Surviving the Survivor is one of the first shows I ever did a collab with way back in the day, and I love Joel. I love his mother. It's just a great crew over there. They really are. So I will go and check that out. Do you think Savannah should have done this walk with them today? I don't know that she knows that they're involved. I would imagine that they must. Hey, there she is. Hey, pretty lady. What's happening? I'm sorry that we didn't get to do a show tonight, Reese. The power that be. See what I did there, Johnny Scoville? The power that be didn't want that to happen, but we will get it fixed. Yeah, I agree with you. Those are absolutely awful channels. Don't click on them. It'll put a virus on your computer. I have heard. That's right. Don't click on AI. It will absolutely put a virus. You heard it. She wouldn't lie to you. She wouldn't say it unless it was true. Reese, I'm glad that you're here. I'm always glad that you're here. You are the sunshine of my life. Evening, Scoville brothers and the lovely Reese. I set my alarm so I can be up for the eclipse. I'm chilling on the boat. Oh, you know something? We don't see the moon often here because of the whole Coriolis effect. There's almost always clouds at night right over Salinas. However, the last 2 days have been just unbelievable. I took some photos. I sent them to Reese. I don't think I've posted any of them, but the moon is just the full moon yesterday. And I know it was probably technically not full yesterday, but boy, oh boy, it looked full. News Nation was supposedly the only media that was there, and they seemed to know that the family was coming. Go figure. I would imagine, and I'm not trying to sound, why, thank you, CM. That's a kind thing to say. I love this show, too. The audience makes this show what it is. We have a very sort of a hip true crime audience. I hate to sound like I'm a cynic, but if this were for the reason that I think it was, I would imagine that they alerted the press, and they're probably not going to call the average YouTuber, right? I noticed that I didn't get a call, which bothers me a little bit. And none of the other people that were parked out front seemed to. I thought it was a spectacle, and I refused to watch. I don't blame you. I've heard other people don't beat up on her for this. A lot of people have said the exact same thing. This seems like it was put on. It seems like a spectacle, and it seemed like it was bad form. And I understand why people would say that. However, I understand why people would say that. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. That's huge, actually. That really is. It's you guys that make this happen. And I just finished up a month And it's one of the best months I've had in a very, very long time. Numbers wise, it was really a fantastic, fantastic month. And it's because all of you are pushing this channel. The number of hypes that I got over 500 hypes in a week. That used to be about a year for me. Really, your show is the best. What a cool thing to say. Thank you so much, Patty. I really appreciate that. Even though I feel Kaea was involved, Annie and Tom wouldn't have turned over those texts if they thought they were incriminating. See, I kind of feel the same way. And the more that I studied that, the more I looked into it. Allegedly, when they first got the texts, they went to Google. So this is all traceable. But allegedly, they went to Google and typed in the area code, found out it was California, and then went and turned it over to the police. I don't think that they would have done that to Derek Kaea if by some chance Derek was truthfully involved with them. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, Derek Kaea is the guy with the really terrible haircut. Kind of looked like he might have been a member of the Flock of Seagulls back in the 80s, except his hair is the wrong color. Super Sticker, thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. I am sure glad that I went live late night tonight. First of all, I hate not going live. I so much was looking forward to doing this show with my wife. My wife and I cut up and laugh a lot. This wasn't going to be that kind of show. And it's a public service as far as I'm concerned. It's one of those shows that you really need to see if you don't understand just how bad the Church of Scientology is. But I promise we will get to that. But he is one of those people. Yes. I would imagine it was hard for Reese to do a show. Her experience at that ridiculous temple. Yeah. This quickly we'll wait for that show. Yeah. The Big Blue, they call it, the Cult of Scientology building out in California really is something. The Punisher, thank you so much. Look at you guys bringing it. Holy crap. The haters are going to go nuts. You know, they call me a digital grifter. I do prefer digital panhandler. You know what I mean? I never liked the grifter term. I like the panhandler one way better. What do you make of Annie and Tommaso's car still being impounded as evidence? Yeah, I think that it speaks volumes as well. Thank you again, Punisher. Really means the world. I do also believe that this speaks volumes. They have been eliminated as suspects, but their car apparently has not been eliminated as a suspect. They are keeping that car. Anytime they keep evidence, there's only one reason they do it. One. And that is because they still think it has evidentiary value, right? So obviously they have not ruled them out. They can keep saying that. And I would imagine that that's what they were trying to put out today. They're trying to say, honestly, the family isn't suspects. However, if the family isn't suspects, then you don't need their phone. You don't need any of these things in order to still hold on to it if they are literally eliminated as suspects. But they're not. We all know that. I'm not trying to be a dick, but they're not eliminated. I mean, just keep that real. Be cynical. News Nation coverage and Luke interview within hours. Media manipulation 100%. Well, unfortunately, media manipulation is just part of the American way, isn't it? It's sad, but it's true. Gary Mackey. Hold on one second. Might as well pile on. Now that's the spirit, people. If you're going to pile on, Gary Mackey knows how to do it. Gary, your support is never ending, and it means an awful lot to me. It does feel manipulated, doesn't it? When you hear TMZ come out and say, don't pay any attention to the white car that went by. The FBI said no evidence. No value in that at all. It's a nothing burger. No one else is reporting that. Every single cop, every single former investigator, all of the people that know the Catalina foothills. Here's the thing about that particular car. I'm talking about the fast image that went across the screen like this. If by some chance you've ever been to the Catalina foothills and you were at Miss Nancy Guthrie's house and you were a criminal and you said, I don't want my car to be picked up on a bunch of cameras. I don't want to pop out on a main thoroughfare. The way you would leave the Catalina foothills from over on Campbell is exactly the way that they would have gone. Go all the way down, head out, and end up on East River Road. That way is going to get you, that's the least chance you have at all of running into a cop, right? If you're trying to get out of the Catalina foothills. So it doesn't make any sense that they put up what they wanted, all camera footage within 2 miles. Why wouldn't you say, if you live in the Catalina foothills, man, send us footage. It doesn't make any sense. And I know that I constantly beat on Sheriff Nanos, but in my defense, the man needs to be beat on. Pear-shaped body type, hello. Bad move to go out there. Annie bawling when she didn't do anything when she did the hostage video. That's an interesting point, isn't it? That really is an interesting. Oh, Hive Mind, thank you so much. Said, I save all my hypes for you. What a cool thing to say. A lot of people have made a lot of how she was on those initial videos when they were talking about the ransom. Annie looked off to a lot of people, and a lot of people speculated about maybe her being on a benzodiazepine. Maybe she had taken a Xanax or something. Hey, New Jersey, maybe she had taken a Xanax or something to chill her out. And you know what? I can't judge anybody for that. I've taken a few things to chill myself out over the course of the years. However, it wasn't a good look. And the other thing was her blink rate was through the roof. It was insane. Now, full disclosure, Relatable Reese, that would be her right there. If you've never gone by and hit subscribe, you should. You'll thank me later. She's really, really funny. And she's just downright beautiful. You know, maybe a little biased, but it's the truth. Reese has an incredibly fast blink rate. Unlike anybody that you will see, Reese really has a fast blink rate. So there are people that just have those. However, there's other video of her when she's sitting with her mother and Savannah where she doesn't seem to have that blink rate. Now, it doesn't mean you're a liar. It just means that you're uncomfortable. And she just may be somebody that doesn't ever want to be in front of a camera, right? If we're critical thinking it. But when you start taking all of it, again, we play the numbers, right? When you start taking all of it into account, it looks bad. I can't think of one good reason why law enforcement would have taken all those pictures inside, of Annie's house and come out with gloves and a bag that night, unless it looked like a crime scene. And I'm sorry, people, these glasses are wearing out. Some nights I see really well, and some nights I'm damn near blind, and I got to get right up on the camera. I think this is a really solid point. Again, they were in that house. They were taking flash photographs at night. You don't necessarily do that unless maybe you're trying to use luminol. I mean, that was the logical thing that most people came up with. If not, it has something to do with contrast in a way that we don't understand. It would be something that was unique to people that do that kind of crime scene analysis. But no matter how you shake it, they weren't going over there just to check out, oh, this is where they played Mahjong. They definitely looked like they were in there looking for evidence. Tommy, what is my watch of the day? This is a Royal Oak. Now, before you start going, I'm never giving this guy another super chat. This Royal Oak is not made by Audemars Piguet. This is what many believe to be the original Royal Oak, because Gerald Genta, the designer of the Royal Oak, before he worked at AP, he worked at Bulova. And this is a super rare Bulova Royal Oak. And it's in two-tone. It's just an absolutely beautiful watch. One of my favorites. It's got a band that is just, I mean, it's butter, the way it sits on your wrist. It's absolutely one of my favorite watches ever. I will never get rid of it. I got this with box and papers. I bought it out of Italy, believe it or not. And I like it so much that there's a really good chance that Reese will end up with it, because Reese also has a great watch habit. Psychic Sleuth predicted at 10 million insurance for an 84-year-old woman. The most ridiculous thing. She has zero clue about life insurance and the elderly. They capped that amount at about $50K. I mean, you know what your monthly payments would have to be to try to get an insurance policy of that size on someone that late in life? You'd literally be paying, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And that's if you could find an actuary that would do the math and let you touch that. But I agree with you. I don't think there's any chance in hell that anyone was doing this. Relatable Reese, how do you take care of your extreme dry eyes? If she's honest, she'll tell you that there's these cool little drops that come in these like blue bottles. And when I sleep, I have to hold on to a couple of them. It really is. I should let Reese answer all these questions. If not, I sound like one of those weird husbands. But her eyes never actually close. She's got a very strange condition. Did you already say that? But if, like when she first wakes up in the morning, if she does not get eye drops in there immediately, what will happen is it will end up cutting her corneas. So first thing in the morning, I always get, Tommy, drops. And I got to I got to get them pulled out. We have stashed all over the place. It's pretty funny, actually. Mahjong is a game similar to dominoes. It's like Chinese tiles, correct? And it's pretty popular in certain parts of the country, and Arizona happens to be one of them. The Punisher says, "Hey, Reese, my wife has dry eyes, and I know it sucks. It's super important. They cap it at 50K. I will believe you, Unboxed with Lori. I believe that. That sounds pretty normal to me. Do you think Nanos knows who did it and is covering up? I think that they probably have some people in mind for this crime. I really believe that. Whenever they tell us that this is one of those situations that we have no suspects, we don't know of any cars, there's absolutely nothing going on, it harkens back to Kohberger. They were telling that up until the day that they arrested him. They were telling us that there was nobody that they liked for the crime. Balls that Tommaso has balls to show himself. Yeah, showing his pear-shaped ass and nonchalant leaning over, etc. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people feel this way. I am not mad at you. Yeah, I know, Chef. She's going to end up with all my watches. The good news is she looks better in them than I do. To be really honest with you, I love watching. Tommy has given me many long jeans. Yeah, I've given her. Yeah, in fact, she has the long jeans. She has a really, really rare long jeans that was made just for the people that work there. It's an absolutely phenomenal watch. You could go the rest of your life and never see another one. And it's very, very trim and thin. Where was her son? Her son to my understanding, is back in Vermont, but has been coming back and forth between the two. Who is this Luke Daly dude? So Luke Daly is one of the individuals that was pulled out of that Range Rover. He has an extensive criminal record, and part of that criminal record is snitching. Jesus Freak, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. And by the way, I'm one of those freaks my damn self. So I really do appreciate you. And I'm glad that you are here. So Luke has the only affiliation that we can see is that there was someone that reported him that said the purchase of that car looked sus, right? That there was something very suspicious about the way that car was purchased. That wouldn't surprise me, because on paper, this guy is a drug dealer, or at least an enforcer for drug dealers. He's been busted for cocaine and meth. He's been busted for felon in possession of a firearm, and he didn't do any time. And that would make him, well, the only person on planet Earth that's ever been busted for felon in possession of a firearm and not gone to prison, right? You do time for that. Nobody gets probation for that unless you ratted on some people. But one of his other crimes, it even says they didn't even seal the record. It said that the case was thrown out because of his cooperation, which is a really nice way of saying, yes, snitch. The day I turned 70, there was a stack of life insurance cancellations thanking me for being such a loyal customer. Well, that just sucks. Gary, that doesn't seem right at all, right? It does seem right, but it shouldn't be. And you know what? I would have put you at 50, pretty quick on your feet. Tommy, sorry I'm so late. What do you think after the family finally showed up today? Well, I think it's a good look. Whether or not he is innocent or he is guilty is something we're not going to know for a minute, right? However, he sure looks more innocent today. Now, a lot of people are going to say, nah, he didn't. But it's a good look. It's a good look to be seen in public, knowing full well people are taking pictures of you, knowing that you're going to end up on the news, and he's out there with Savannah gripping him, and he's pulling her in tight. It was heartbreaking, right? It really was. It looked heartbreaking, but that's what they should have been doing from the beginning. You go out of your way to make sure. Ensign, good to have you here. And you look fantastic in green. By the way, I do have a show coming up that's just going to be for, we're going to do a question and answer, a good long one that's just for members, because then we can go a lot slower and I don't miss anybody, and we can really go over some theories. So I'm really looking forward to that. So welcome to Ensign. John Walsh stole his grandchildren from their own mother, his daughter. Corrupt SOB, not an example. You know what? I beg to differ. I'm sorry. I beg to differ. Now, I'm not arguing with anything that you're saying, But what I'm saying is when your child is abducted, the way that he acted after his child was abducted is how you need to act. You come out and say, give me a polygraph, go through my house. You don't need search warrants. Get over here. Don't waste 1 minute. Get here. Search the hell out of this house. And he certainly turned a tragedy into something that a lot of parents have been reunited with kids because of him. He may be a bad human being. I don't know. I really don't. But he certainly turned tragedy into something better, which is kind of what Elizabeth Smart has done. I'm always impressed by anybody that can take a really bad situation and turn it into a great one. By the way, for all of you, I've gotten a bunch of emails that said, wasn't Q going to court in February? I'll have an update on Q. It's not going to be for close to a month, but there'll be an update coming up. He is going to be going to court, and I will let all of you know about it, I promise. But you can keep him in your prayers. I think that would be a good idea. Tommy, useless info here, but they give out lawn jeans to the winner of the Kentucky Derby. No, that's not worthless info, and it is a fact. Lawn jeans is one of the, and they go back a long time. I have a lawn jeans that was given out to a winner of the Kentucky Derby, not to the jockey or anything else, but one of the trainers. It was, and this is an old one. It's from the 50s. I showed it to Reese. There's a horse on the dial. They have two horses facing each other, and it's a tank watch, so it's rectangular in shape, white gold, very, very cool. Tommaso changed his look. Annie was over dramatic, seems fishy. A lot of people have said this. A lot of people have said, boy, oh boy, walking out to put those flowers out there really tore her up. But when she was sitting there and trying to communicate to the world that kind of, that kind of emotion, we saw none of it. Now, if we're being kind, if we're being kind, we could say, when they were talking to the alleged kidnappers, a lot of that script is written by the FBI. That is going to be something that they have to deal with. And it's hard when someone is putting words in your mouth. As a public speaker, and before I was a YouTuber, I have done public speaking in my life. It is very difficult if somebody wants to put words in your mouth. My wife never does it to me. I don't do it to her, professionally or privately. We're people that sort of let that go. And I think it's healthier. It's hard when someone tells you what to say. And certainly they were being told, well, you can say anything you want, but you have to say this, this, and this included. And when you have to put bullet points into something that emotional, I think it starts to look a little stinted. I'm not saying she's not guilty, by the way, people. I still like both of them for this crime. However, I'm just sort of playing the devil's advocate. How much equity does Nancy have in her home? That's a great question because I've heard it reported multiple different ways. So truth be told, I don't know the answer to that. Sue Nelson, see, she's trying to get back in my good graces because I know she's going to Switzerland. All right, it worked. No, honestly, take some pictures. And if you hit Zermatt, I promise you'll thank me later. It's a unbelievable mountain, really an unbelievable mountain. Great view of the Matterhorn. And welcome to Ensign. I'm glad that you look so good in green. I cropped and blew up the mask picture. Bloodshot eyes, not eyelids. I saw bloodshot eyes in that as well. Now you could say, obviously, it's going to be a stressful situation. Also, I got wasted for anything that I had to do like that. If I was going in to rob a bank, I was cooked because you're trying to not do this one, right? So I would say if that person has a habit of any kind, they certainly were using whatever their drug of choice was prior to going out and do that. That would be de rigueur. I think they did the walk around due to Savannah going home to New York City. Interesting. It's funny too. TMZ comes out and says, she's definitely, I've heard that, from sources that she's not going back. The same day CNN comes back and goes, no, she's definitely coming back. Harvey is just, I don't know, man. Like I hear the theme music now to TMZ and I can't get through it. I can't even get through the theme music in the beginning because he's just well, we all know what he is. He's a whore. Please, she felt nothing. And then the total crying in that video, it's been weeks now. Look, I'm not doubting you at all. I'm just playing the devil's advocate because for God's sakes, I was called a monster yesterday. By way of full disclosure, probably not the first time I've been called a monster, but for this, come on. Also back then they were in shock and hoping for a return. Now a month later, the reality and the grief has set in regarding Annie. Well, and I think that walking out there and laying flowers down probably had to feel like you were going to a grave. And I do think that the longer that this goes on, the more that the realization, hello, Susan, the more the realization that she's probably not coming back is sinking in. And I know that that is very, very difficult. Hello, Buffy. Buffy, I am always glad when you are here. Welcome to the boat. It's got to be a difficult thing for them right now because just, again, not being cold-hearted or anything else, but simply playing the numbers, this doesn't seem like there's a really good chance that she's still with us. And you can send me all the hate mail you'd like. Annie is the black sheep of the family already. I have no idea about her, but isn't like the rest, it seems. No, she really isn't. I saw someone overly emotional, not knowing how to deal with it, and she isn't used to attention. I think all of those things may be real. Do I own a Panerai? I do. In fact, check this out, just because it's right here. Now, it's not very professional, but the only reason that I did that, I actually have more than one Panerai. But look at that one. Oh, look at that Panerai there. You see that? Oh, boy. That is the Ferrari Panerai. So the paint on the front of the dial is actually fly yellow, the same color from Ferrari. Yes, I do have Panerai. In fact, Reese knows me. So when she was out in California and they stopped in Beverly Hills, the first thing she did was take a picture of the outside of the Panerai building. And then she went up to a window that had, I'm not exaggerating, they had Royal Oaks like this one, except they had them by AP. And there was probably 60 of them in the window. The difference between the Royal Oak that I wear and the real ones is about $75,000 in cost. Mine's a little bit cheaper than the other one. Yeah, Chef, it's a nice watch. It really is. You better stop that. Everyone knows you know this, man. And you know what? I still have watches you want, so you better be careful. Is emotions guilt? What do you think? Interesting, right? Lisa makes a good point. She says, I can't judge people and how they might grieve. I don't do that either, believe it or not. But the picture that I show of them in the car, that to me has nothing to do with grief. That to me looks like people that, I know you do, babe. I'm already hunting it down for you. I know exactly the watch to get you. Trust me, I am a watch concierge. Yeah, these are all really solid points, Cindy G. You don't want to make the family look bad if you were told not to talk with the press, so forth. And they may have told them that. They really might have. I tend to doubt it. And the only reason that I say that is the more that you want, what you want more than anything in the world, and they're going to realize this in the next 7 to 10 days, they're going to start getting very panicky that the world is no longer talking about their mother, because that is what happens on these cases. And while the world is still looking, but this is day 3 of them missing. And that is Annie, obviously, on the left. And she's doing everything within her power to make sure that people can't see her face. That is odd behavior. I'm not saying that makes you guilty. You know, somebody put in the chat, oh, so that makes him guilty? No, it doesn't make him guilty. But we play the numbers, and you add that to, you're the one that called 911. You're the person that they reached out to say mom wasn't there. You're the last people to see her either alive, depending on how you look at it, right, or before she was abducted. Start taking all those into account. They spent 5 days at your house with people going through your house like it was a crime scene. And by all accounts, it should just be where mom played mahjong. Trust me, they think that something happened there, right? All of those things are what leads me to lean heavy into neckbeard. It's not just, me saying, well, you know what? The son-in-law looks like a neckbeard kind of a guy, although, he does have kind of a look, doesn't he? However, like I said before, someone told me that someone that we know from Tucson that said the guy's a teddy bear and that Nancy loved him to death. They were very, very close. I can't speak to that. I can just tell you what somebody told me. Yeah, I have my watch collection is considerably smaller since I married Reese. At one point, he went to put an arm around her and then stopped. I'm sorry. And his arm just was tucked awkwardly behind his back. Yeah, there was also a period of time there where, are you talking about Annie or are you talking about Savannah? Because Savannah was gripping him for all she was worth. I wouldn't want my kid in Tommaso's class. I said the same thing, caught a lot of crap for it. But I absolutely would be very uncomfortable if my kid was being taught by him. And again, you don't have to like me for that. We all, we all tend to occasionally. I have given her about 50 watches, and a couple of them are just, you would not believe how rare. Someday, Reese and I will do a show on her watch collection because her watch collection, in and of itself, is pretty damned impressive. It really is. She has great taste. So every once in a while, I'll say to her, "You want to go shopping?" And I'll let her go through my collection. But she has great taste. That, people, is Tommaso Cione. He's, by the way, about 5'9". He's not towering, massive. He's thick as hell, though. And the reason we call him neckbeard is because the thread count on that beard is just to die for. I mean, honestly, if I could get that on the top of my head, I'm just jealous of how well the guy grows hair. Kind of a bummer for those of us that are follically challenged. Of course, I'm kidding. I shave my head every day. If I wanted to, I could grow this thick head of hair here. It's a choice. Isn't that right, Reese? Reese, you were there. Do you like the vintage Hamiltons? One of my favorite brands of all time. Vintage Hamiltons are absolutely unbelievable. Love vintage Hamiltons. Have a very serious collection of them. That's what my husband says. He bought an Omega on our wedding night and said it might be his last. And you know what? It will last him forever. Omega is a great watch. Really, really good company. Sorry, Tommy. I felt like Savannah was acting, but there was some awkwardness between her and Tommaso. I will be really honest. I could have been overwhelmed just by the fact that they were there. The car hiding video is because he just shaved. Just saying. That's a possibility, isn't it? That's absolutely a pubic facial hair. Well played. You love the big, bulky, and heavy ones. So does my wife. Watches. Loves big, bulky watches. In fact, I just got her the bulkiest watch on planet Earth because she wanted it. I got her a Corum Leap Second 48. It's 48 millimeters. Massive. I don't have any Patek's anymore, Kelly. Patek is the best watch on planet Earth. The rest of them are not. That's the top of the food chain. Yeah, she was saying no to me growing my facial hair out. Wear sunscreen, my bald husband. I have this really great hat that my wife got me that looks like the hat that Hannibal Lecter puts on at the end of the movie when he's going to have a friend for dinner. And that's what I wear when I go outside. If I go out in the Ecuadorian sun, I do not go out with nothing on my head because I will get burned really, really quickly. My contribution to the pile-on, so deserved. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And boy, oh boy, do you wish you were here right now. The weather is to die for, Debbie. It is really, really great right now. It's and thank you for the support, the never-ending support. I still can't figure out why TMZ and TV stations did Savannah ever work for that TV station in Tucson. Not to the best of my knowledge. You're wondering why they sent the stuff to them. I get that. So this is the best answer I can come up with for this because I've thought about this a lot. They sent it to 3 stations, and they were the 3 major networks in Tucson. However, Fox wasn't one of them. So they sent it to ABC, NBC, and CBS. Okay? That's where the first 3 letters went to. They didn't announce them. They did the classy thing, and they told the FBI about it, but they didn't come out with it. So when that didn't happen, if you were trying to get the world to hear about it, and I don't know why you would if it was actually a ransom demand, because you don't want the press brought in. In fact, do you realize that 97% of kidnappings the press never hears about? That's a fact. I looked it up. Because usually you leave a note that says, don't call the press, don't call the cops, right? You're right. No, looks can absolutely be deceiving. And I'm not basing all of this on his looks. I'm basing it on the numbers game. 8 out of 10 people, right? In abduction cases, it's usually going to be family. So you go with the 8 out of 10. That's a good start. He's also the last person to see her. He dropped her off that night. Allegedly, he dropped her off that night. He's also the one that got called over to the house and went there first, right? Reese, we need to take donations to get Tommy and Johnny's solar power generator. That, no joke, is absolutely high on my list. So back to the answer. if you wanted the world to know about this, so who are you going to send it to? Who is going to absolutely run with that before they even call the FBI? And the answer is obviously Harvey Levin. He did that. Harvey ran with it before they knew he had it. He said, we reached out to people, but apparently didn't get the right people, right? My first impression of Savannah's actions was that she felt like she needed to put on an act toward Tommaso to make him feel secure. I think she knows more about the things while this, yeah, you know what? I think a lot of people feel this way. Like this may have been an act they're trying to make this guy feel good. And you know something? Maybe that's why Nanos came out and said they are not suspects. Maybe they just don't want them to lawyer up, right? I mean, that's a possibility. Savannah worked at the news station in Tucson where they had the Candle of Hope at. She did, huh? I was unaware of that. Are you sure of that, Nancy? I will have to chase that down. But my thought on this is they hit the 3 local affiliates in the town, and then they reached out to Harvey because Harvey's a lowlife that will absolutely tell the world about it. This case just confuses me. Savannah worked at KVOA. Thank you. Tommaso finally showed up. Sure, he needs everything. He knows people are wondering. Yeah, absolutely he is. And I think that I won't argue this is absolutely a publicity stunt. I believe that. 0 reasons for them to have covered their faces like that. Makes them look like they assumed the public already knew that they were involved. That's how I saw it. And if you take all of those things, this is a numbers game. You take all of those things. Once you get past the 8 out of 10 are going to be family. Once you get past who was the last person to drop them off. All right, who's acting weird? Who of all of the people that are really attached to this, not tangentially on the outside or whatever, but the people that are family that are right in the middle of this, are any of them acting strange? And to me, that was acting strange. That could be. She said that, let me see if I can get this. I think she is very loyal to her family and blind to the fact that Tommaso may be involved. That's a possibility, right? That has been her brother-in-law for a very long time, right? For a very, very long time. So that's definitely a possibility. That's why they had the candlelight of hope there. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I personally don't think it's weird they covered their faces. Here's the thing. I understand that there are people who are going to think this. I'm just a true crime guy, and I compare them to all of the other people in that situation. And I would go out on a limb and say, no matter whether or not you think it's weird, if it was a loved one of yours, that's not what you do. You would go out and plead with the press because that's what everyone else always does. If you see the press in front of your house, you go out and you say, please, if you see anything, if you know anything, no matter how small, and please pray for our loved one. That is de rigueur. That is what everyone else does. I'm not judging them by going, why would anyone do that? I'm saying I've watched a lot of this crap in my life, and this isn't what people in their shoes normally do. So for me, it's incredibly weird because it's not even Stephen Stearns, who was a rapist and the guilty party, talked to the press, right? Everywhere, it's very odd that you see family that doesn't try to use the press because you don't want your family member forgotten. You want to keep it in the press. And you running and hiding isn't doing that. You want people to make phone calls. You want people to walk through fields. You want people to be looking for the person that you love. And running to the car and hiding your face isn't usually how that gets done. New member looking fantastic in green. And I'm not busting your chops. I promise I'm not. Probably sounds that way because everything I say sounds like I just gargled with glass, but I'm not. I understand where you're coming from. However, I'm just, again, playing the numbers game. And how do people normally act? Even Carlos. The world is screwing Carlos over, right? Unless you think he did it. And if you do, that's okay. However, that first night, we didn't think that. And it looked like Carlos is completely getting screwed over, right? What does he do when he comes back from the cops? He stops and talks to the press. Why? Because he wants them to know he didn't do anything wrong. He wants them to know he's not a suspect. You need to eliminate me as fast as possible so that you can catch the person that did it. He's not even family, and he's saying that, right? That's usually how they react. They want, what do we have here? What are you doing there, Squirrel Nut? Come here, you're a star. Everyone wanted to see you anyway. What are you doing? Come here, Zip. Oh, don't be such a pip. This is Squirrel Nut Zipper. She is the cabin cat of the lifeboat. Here, stand. 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 She doesn't want to now. You want to bite me. Ow, 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 ow. Nice look. Seriously. I tell people I love you, and you chew my thumb off on live television. Well played, Squirrel Nut Zipper. You know what's odd about Squirrel? Squirrel doesn't like ladies. She literally does not like ladies. However, she is really, really fond of my wife. The cat is cute. This is one of the cutest cats in the world. Even Reese has had to admit recently that Squirrel is really, really cute. You are a light in my day, Reese. I feel the exact same way. I really do. Even when she has to call me from a restaurant because she's just offended everybody within 8 miles. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That kitty looks about 5'9" with a husky build. Just saying. I'll tell you the one that looks like that is my brother's cat. Katy Perry is 2 squirrels, and the 2 of them fight all day long. I mean, not seriously. They never scratch each other or anything else. But Squirrel gives up about 10 pounds in weight to her opponent and wins every fight. What if they did want the Bitcoin, and when they found out it wouldn't work, they didn't know where to go from there? That's a possibility. Absolutely, it's a possibility. However, if those people were real, they would have got the Bitcoin like that. All they had to do was show proof of life. That family was ready to pay. Savannah hasn't gotten to the anger stage of death. Yes, I agree with you. Of the 5 stages, I don't think she started any of them. Who is Ecuadorian? None of my cats are Ecuadorian, if that's what you mean. Both of my cats are imported from the United States of America. I couldn't possibly have a cat that didn't speak English. I have to live with them full time, and I don't speak enough Spanish to have a Spanish-speaking cat. If I were to ever lose either of them, I would have to bring in more English-speaking cats. When I talk to Squirrel, who's a good kitty? She talks back to me, right? However, if I don't speak the language, then I got to go gato, and I sound like I screw up the pronunciations. You can ask Reese. When we see cats about town and I try to talk to them, I don't get the same response ever because my pronunciation is so bad. Thank you, Flinner. And I will get them here. By the way, I get people all the time that say, if you want the cats, why don't you fly back to the United States and get them? This is a thing I get all of the time. I passed a background check, right, and had it apostolized to be able to come here. I'm terrified of the United States of America. I'm just keeping it real. I'm terrified. I walked through an airport and had somebody come up to me and spit in my face because I'm a content creator and they don't like my content. I had police coming to my house. I'm not exaggerating, 10 times a month. The Department of Homeland Security, DEA, local cops, because trolls called them to say, Tommy's still a criminal. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's doing all of these things. There are 6% of the people in prison are in there for crimes they didn't commit. I'm scared to hell to go to the United States. I have a terrible criminal record. And when you have people calling all day long saying that you're involved in human trafficking, you're a drug dealer, you're a rapist, they literally, trolls would put the 800 number at the bottom of the screen and say, call and report Tommy and Johnny. Yeah, that's the world we live in. So I live in a place now where I don't fear anything. And as much as I would love to go back there and just grab the cats, even my family has said to me, we'll come and see you. Don't come back here. It was terrifying for all of the people that loved me to see that going on. They still have Annie's car. I honestly don't know why. As I was saying earlier, maybe before you got here, this is one of those things that the only reason they ever keep evidence is because it has evidentiary value. Whether it's a car, whether it's a phone, they're not going to hand back anything that they think still has evidentiary value. Boy, talk about awkward family get-togethers for the Guthrie family. I would imagine. What country do I live in now? I live in Ecuador. I live in Ecuador. If you've ever looked at South America, Look at the farthest west that you could possibly go in South America. That little part that juts out right into the middle of the ocean. That's exactly where I'm at. You couldn't get any more west than where I am right now. A reporter I followed said today their car was returned to them. Well, that's not what the police department said today. That car has not been returned. It is still sitting in a lot. It's still in the evidence lot, and it has not been returned. That's what the police are saying. So if your reporter has a better source than that, that may be the case. But am I learning Spanish? I am. I am absolutely learning Spanish, enough to at least communicate with the cats. Why would they email a news station or TMZ, then communicate directly with the family? This is why I always thought it was a hoax, because normally you want to communicate with the family. You don't want anything like that. You want the family to talk to you. You don't want the police involved. You certainly don't want the press involved, because the more eyes are on it, the better a chance you have of getting busted. The car is absolutely still considered evidence. Could it have been released but not picked up yet? I suppose in theory, but what the Pima County Sheriff's Department said is it has not been released. That is what they are saying. Not that it has been released and not returned. What's that? She's more still in the grieving and devastated loss. If she's there, here's the thing: how do you make that happen, right? If you have lost somebody dies, you go through the 5 stages of death. Right now, there's a part of them that every day gets up and says, "Oh God, I hope they're still there," right? "Oh God, I hope they're still there." I hope she's not dead. I hope she's not dead. There's a part of you that always hopes against hope. You even hear from the parents of kids that disappeared, and they've never been returned. And 30 years later, there are still days that they get up and say, today is a day I think she might still be out there. What are you doing? What are you doing? You trying to make up for chewing my thumb off on live television? Reese, your channel brings laughter and joy to my life every day. Much needed. Yeah, you're not the only person that says that. There's a lot of people that feel that way about my wife. She is one of those people that can always make you smile, even if you're having a bad day. I am dealing with this now, says Edward. She's still in shock. Ow, ow, you're doing it again. Ow, ow. Why are you biting me? See that? Honest to God, she's just showing off. She doesn't do that when I'm not live. You're just not being a nice kitty. You want to jump up there? You want to get up there? Sometimes she does that. I think Savannah is purely in survival mode. I don't think the grieving stages will begin until she has answers. I agree with you, Jamie Palmer. This is the torture. Hey, Pete Taylor, good to see you. This is the torture stage of this, right? Here's the thing, though. My cat doesn't bite. She's really good about that. She's doing that just to show off. She does love bites, but that wasn't a love bite. She's trying to take my thumb off. Is my cat hungry? Usually, her little sister eats 26 times a day. I'm not being funny. I'm not being this funny. She eats 26 times a day. We actually started counting. One of my cats does that. Otherwise, it acts so innocent. Squirrel is really a great cat all the time. She listens to me. She talks to me. However, she likes to show off when we're live. And the other thing is, the second I set the computer up, Squirrel looks at me and I go, "Don't do it. Don't do it." And she comes and jumps on it. If you've been on the boat long enough, you heard me one day just sitting and having a conversation with my brother because the cat decided to hit live and literally went live. Same as my meow meow. Yep. Savannah Guthrie is a multi-million-dollar career is likely over. I don't know, Richard. I don't know. I think that the network is going to do really well if they say anytime that she wants to come back, she can. There's a huge problem with the fact that Luke's car was released, but not Annie's. Boy, that's a statement, isn't it? Right? That is a very interesting statement. Why would Annie's car be evidence in anything? Well, we don't know the answer to that because they're keeping the cards very close to the chest. Why would, if Nancy Guthrie was abducted from Nancy Guthrie's house, why would the FBI spend 5 days with a evidence team going in there taking out bags of evidence, taking photos with flash photography and all of that. They can keep telling us that they're not suspects in this, but that is not how they have acted at all. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid point. By the way, someone said in the comment section the other day, I don't always agree with everything you say, but you saying that cats were so much better than people is the smartest thing you've ever said, and I'm going to agree with that. I'm literally going to agree with that because there's something to that. Cats are fantastic; they never let you down. Do you think the news, the network execs think Facebeard is involved? They absolutely probably do. That would be my gut. See what I'm saying? This is how she is at her happiest. And she does this. I was on the phone with Squirrel earlier. She will jump from the ground to my shoulder with absolutely no warning. I'm 6'2". The cat will just jump from the floor on, and it scares the crap out of you if you don't know it's coming. Isn't that right, SNZ? She's a good kitty. She really is pretty cute. Misbehaving, sort of the story of her life. Yeah, can we get some prayers for, I'm not sure how to say that name right, Ulager? Your kitty's been listening. She knows we're talking about her. She does. She is incredibly sharp. She absolutely knows we're talking about her. If you go back to the early days of the Lifeboat, every single show ended with me holding up a basket that she was sleeping in, but she got too big for the basket. I would say, I'm Tommy Scoville, and this is a cat in a basket. Somebody once put a collage of it together, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them. Every time I would go live, she would just get in the basket and lay down. Now that there's no basket, I'm going to have to find one. She is a YouTuber. See, Henry gets it. I'm sorry, Heavenly Heather gets it. You own her like my, yeah, she owns me, sadly. I am definitely the one that, tortoiseshell kitties. Yeah, they call it tortitude. You have a 17-year-old Himalayan. I love that. I love that. Yeah, she's a great cat. She unfortunately has a bit of an attitude problem, and she kind of realizes that she's the most important thing around here. So this is kind of what I'm stuck with. All right, people, I went really late tonight because we had been missing power, and I didn't get to go live with my bride. I absolutely will be doing that show as soon as Reese is available. What are you doing? Is there a reason you're grabbing me like that? One of the reasons that I also have to end this is because she's about 11 or 12 pounds, and keeping an 11 or 12 pound cat out like this on your arm, eventually it's just going to drop, and then I'm going to look like I'm not very tough. So I got to make sure that I end this before I have to do that. So do me a favor, everybody, and keep the Guthrie family in your prayers, regardless of whether you think Neckbeard's involved, not involved, or who you think did this. The family can't get closure. They're living in hell, and they absolutely deserve our prayers and our thoughts and all of our positive vibes that we can send that way. Oh, absolutely, Jesus Freak. I'm happy to do it. I really, Reese feels the same way. When you don't go live, you miss the audience, right? You do become family, like it or not. It's real. Nonsense. No one thinks you're a dick that you know of. I'm sorry. It's a quote from a movie. I did that just for my girl. All right, people. Between now and the next time I see you, adopt a kitty. I swear to God, you'll thank me later. And put a little love in your heart. Make sure you're praying for the Guthrie family. Reese, I love you. Have a good night's sleep. And I'll see all of you tomorrow. I'm Tommy. See you on the next one. God bless. All right, Squirrel, let's go.